So you check out a cruise price on a Monday. It looks reasonable. You go back Wednesday and it's now $300 more. You wait a few days, maybe even a few hours, and it comes back down. You have a conversation with your partner, you check again, and now it's jumped to another 200 bucks. You finally just book it because you're afraid it's gonna just disappear entirely or the price is just gonna skyrocket. And the whole experience has left you feeling like you just got played, even though you cannot quite explain how or what happened. That is not paranoia. That is a real system behind what you just experienced. And it's getting more sophisticated every year. I've been a travel agent long enough to watch this shift happen in real time. And what I wanna do in this video is explain how cruise pricing actually works right now, where the genuine opportunities still exist to find good deals, and give you specific strategies you can use on your next booking. And by the end, I want you to reframe what a good deal actually means, because that reframe is the thing that most cruisers never get. Hi, I'm Melissa, a university professor and travel agent who loves to cruise and who loves to talk ship. Now, let's talk about what you were taught about cruise pricing and how it's probably outdated. Most of us learned that a few rules to cruising were, for a long time, generally reliable. Book during wave season, January through March, because that's when the cruise lines offer their best promotions. Book as early as possible, because early fares are always the lowest fares. Or, alternatively, wait until close to the sailing, last minute, because cruise lines drop prices to try to fill empty cabins. So these ideas were not wrong when they were developed, but they were based on how cruise pricing actually worked back then. The problem is that the industry has changed significantly, and those rules are now inconsistent at best. Wave season does still exist as a marketing event. We actually just got through it, but the deals during wave season are not automatically better than the deals that you get any other time of year. In fact, there were very few sales this year that really wowed me. I've personally seen better fares on some random Tuesday in September than during January promotions on the same exact itineraries and ships. So wave season is no longer even a guarantee. Plus that book early for the best price rule, that's also still often true, but it's gotten a lot more complicated. Your early booking advantage, it is real for certain sailings on certain ships, especially high demand new ships like Royal Caribbean's Legend of the Seas. It's gonna come out this summer, where everyone wants to be on it. They're clamoring to be the first. Inventory genuinely runs out, but that's not even a universal truth anymore. And the wait for last minute drop strategy, which used to be pretty reliable on undersold itineraries, well, now it's generally risky in a way it wasn't 5 years ago. Why? Because cruise lines have gotten a lot better at managing their inventory, so they don't have as many last minute rooms to try to frantically fill. And also cruise demand has absolutely skyrocketed, so there's less empty cabins. So if you've been operating on any of these assumptions and feeling like your booking decisions are just not working, especially the way it maybe used to, you're really not imagining it. So now I want to talk about how the machine actually works. So the pricing model that most major cruise lines use is called dynamic pricing. God, I hate dynamic pricing. You see it everywhere, especially with airfares, and we're starting to creep into even like household purchases. It's kind of disgusting. We're starting to see grocery stores start to try to experiment with this. But anyway, I could go on a whole rant about that. But when it comes to cruising, the version in use today is meaningfully different from what existed even 5 years ago. Royal Caribbean's CEO confirmed publicly that their yield management models, yes, this is a business, they do yield management models, they're now, of course, to nobody's surprise, based in AI. And the system is constantly and actively learning, and the cruise line has done what he describes as a very good job at closing in on demand and figuring out how to price it. Now, that's not a small thing. That's an admission that there is a system, complicated, expensive system now based in AI that is designed specifically to find the highest fare that a given group of passengers will accept before they say no, click off, and walk away and end up not booking. And there's a lot of stuff that cruise lines know about us. It's marketing 101, right? Demographic stuff, psychographic stuff. I could go on this stuff for days. I am a business professor. I don't want to bore you with the background of this, but basically in layman's terms, what the system is actually reading is factors like that, but also how many days remain until the sailing, how many cabins are in each category that are still available. There are demand patterns for that specific departure port, ship, and time of year. They're also looking at what competing itineraries are priced at. And on some platforms, even your browsing behavior. So how many times have you looked at a particular sailing? Those things all come together into a complicated algorithm that factors into the price that you are shown. So the fare that you see is not simply a price, and that price can be very different that someone across the world with different circumstances sees on their screen at the same time. Instead, it's a real-time response to a set of data inputs that are being recalculated constantly. Now, what does this mean practically for you as a cruiser who just wants a good deal? What that means is there is no single real price that you're finding or missing. Instead, think of it as a range of prices that the system is willing to accept at any given moment, and understand that range is not fixed. It's dynamic. That means it's constantly moving. And there are specific conditions under which it moves in your favor, which is exactly what I want to get into. Let's talk about where the system is actually not paying attention. Now, the reason I find this topic genuinely interesting, well, one, I'm a business professor and I love talking ship about cruising and a business, so this is like a marriage of the two, and I love talking about it. It's that dynamic pricing is not evenly applied across everything. The places where it's less aggressive are real. They're consistent, and once you know what to look for, they're findable. Now, here's where you can find a good deal that's not as impacted by this complicated dynamic pricing. One is repositioning cruises. These are the clearest example. And I think they're the most underrated deal in cruising because these are the sailings where a ship physically moves from one deployment region to another. Typically, it happens in the spring when ships will leave the Caribbean for Europe, or in the fall when they come back. Because repositioning sailings, they attract a different profile of traveler, usually someone who is flexible. They have more time because repositioning cruises are usually pretty lengthy. That means they're not tied to a school calendar, meaning probably not parents or teachers or educators. And it's also a profile of a traveler that's comfortable with unusual embarkation points or one-way logistics. So the cruise lines price them to fill the ships rather than maximize revenue per cabin. And maximizing revenue per cabin, that's going to be the strategy they deploy when it comes to those mainstream in high demand cruises that appeal to the broader population. So these repositioning cruises are so niche that it kind of stands outside of that AI dynamic pricing model. Also, the pricing model doesn't have the same depth of demand data for these itineraries as it does, say, for example, a 7-night Western Caribbean sailing out of Miami, which is the bread and butter of traditional cruising. So with a repositioning cruise, it's working with less information, which means that it's going to price more conservatively. Some of the best per day value in the industry is going to be sitting in a repositioning itinerary that a lot of cruisers will never even give a second look to. Now, another thing is shoulder season sailing, specifically September and October for the Caribbean and late October through early November for Europe. These still produce real and predictable softness in fares. The demand drop is consistent enough that the system reflects it even in that AI model, because AI learns from historical patterns. And the historical pattern here is pretty clear. Older ships on routes dominated by newer hardware, they face the same dynamic. They face the same problem. They just cannot command the same price premium, so their pricing floors tend to be lower. Now, my honest take is that the repositioning cruises specifically are an untapped resource for a lot of cruisers. If you just want to cruise and you want a good deal, that's going to be the move. But there also are some deals that can be had during the kind of off season. Now let's talk about the strategies that actually do work. For me, what I do unequivocally is casino offers. I never have been a casino player. I always hated casinos. I still hate casinos. I never step foot in a land-based casino because I literally see it as just throwing money away. But in cruise world, it's different. Casino offers are the most powerful deal in cruising, and for one very specific reason. They operate in a completely separate pricing system from the one that the AI system manages. So if you play in the casino on your cruise, the cruise line, of course, is going to be using a different AI-based algorithm to track all of your activity, how much you're spending, your average bet, how long you're sitting per session, how many days consecutively you go, all of those things, and those go into your comp offer calculation, but you probably will get comp offers if you spend a decent amount in the casino. And it's those comp offers that are going to keep you sailing. Now, those offers are not subject to the same yield management rules that govern standard fares. They're totally separate, and actually cruise line casino departments are run independent or semi-independent of the cruise line itself. And those discounts can be significant. I've taken almost 50 cruises, other than my first 3 or so, which I didn't know any better, and I just paid out of pocket the regular rate. I figured out the casino system, and I'm like, I'm going to game this system as much as I can and cruise free, so then I don't have to deal with this dynamic pricing and AI and whatever. I'll just get free cruises. Now, I do want to say that free is relative. You got to spend in the casino. A lot of times, honestly, I do spend more in the casino than I would if I just paid for the cruise outright. But just buying a cruise versus spending money in the casino, which one sounds like more fun? Now, if you are interested in casino cruising, always be careful because it is a slippery slope. It can become addictive. I do have an entire video dedicated to it and a guide that's written if you prefer that format, so I'll drop that down below if you want to check it out. Now, I want to talk about other opportunities to find a good deal. For Royal Caribbean specifically, they have a weekly document. It's a random PDF, which seems very low tech. No algorithms there though, I like that. But they put out this weekly document that a lot of cruisers have no idea about, even though it's publicly available. It's called the Going, Going, Gone sale, and it is literally, I'm not kidding, a PDF, and then Royal Caribbean updates it every Tuesday or Wednesday, and they list last minute sailings with unsold cabins at deeply discounted fares. So this was originally built as a reference tool for travel agents, but anyone can access it using a static, meaning it doesn't change, a URL on Royal Caribbean's own servers. And I'll dig it up and try to find it and put it in the comments below. But I'm heading out for a cruise in like 24 hours, so we'll see if I have the time. But anyway, you gotta find it, bookmark it, and just check it regularly. The deals range from modest to legit impressive, depending on the week, shoulder season, stuff like that, right? So there is still variability. Now, another option a lot of cruisers don't know about or never think about is Holland America Line. Now, this is the old people's cruise line. I guess it does tend to skew older. I love Holland. I think they have some of the most interesting itineraries. I just booked a Holland America cruise for Japan. I'm so excited for October, but Holland has a really unique program that's worth knowing about, but one important caveat, and they call it the standby program. It's kind of new. They came out with it in the last couple years. And with their standby program, it lets you get on a list for select sailings starting at just $99 per person per day for an inside or ocean view cabin, taxes and fees included, or $129 for a veranda, which is what they call a balcony room. And that's a smoking deal. Holland America reviews the list between 2 and 7 days before the sailing. And if they have space available, they will often reach out to you, confirm you, and you can go. If not, you get your money back. So no risk of losing out on your money if a room is not available. Now, here is the caveat for this. People like me probably can't be doing this. I live in the Midwest. I can pretty easily hop on a plane and get down to Florida, but I just can't do that last minute. So you gotta kind of be within driving distance of a departure port. They do have a lot of home ports, and they have included in their standby program departures from Port Everglades out of Fort Lauderdale, Port Miami, San Diego, Vancouver. Holland America Line is headquartered in Seattle, so you might even be able to find some Alaskan itineraries out of Seattle, although demand for that is growing, so maybe not, I don't know. But it's worth checking out, especially if you live within driving distance of one of those cruise port locations and you have genuine flexibility. Now, the next strategy, and of course I'm gonna say this because I am a travel agent, although I only book my own travel, close friends and family, because I don't have time. And you don't want me booking your cruise because I can't do it well because I don't have the time. But I have a lot of friends that are travel agents, booking partners that I trust, that I know are gonna do a great job, and I can put you in contact with them. I'll drop that link as well below. So the other thing, it's a no-brainer. Use a travel agent because at no extra cost to you, a travel agent provides a ton of value. And one of the things that they provide is keeping an eye on that annoying dynamic pricing environment. They know about things like Royal Caribbean's PDF secret, not so secret sail fares, right? They know these things. So if you basically say to an agent, hey, I'm gonna take a cruise in October of 2027, and here's my budget, and I just want a really good deal. I'm pretty flexible on date and itinerary and stuff like that. They can watch it for you. That's what they do. They live and breathe this stuff every single day. They're not like you where you're having a job and dealing with family and kids and stuff like that. They are watching all of these sail fares. They're dealing with travel every single day. So use a travel agent. It costs you nothing. It baffles me when people do it on their own. You can do it so much better with a travel agent. So finding a good deal on a cruise, it's harder now than ever before, thanks to technology, specifically thanks to algorithms, dynamic pricing, and good old artificial intelligence, but they are still to be had. They are out there. If you have any tips for finding good deals that I missed and didn't cover, let me know, because I always love to learn. So drop your comments below and let's talk ship.